Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Motorman Dan, and today we're going to be taking a look at a burn and fire somewhat. It's going to be a pretty short one because there's really not a ton to cover about this, but we are going to talk about the mechanic, what to expect, and maybe answer some questions you might have about the burn mechanic and some of the traps that are able to apply the burn effect. So, first off, we want to start with what is burn. Here in the status effects, you can see under the burned category that the damage per tick is 7 uh, for 4 seconds, and it is a 0.8 slow, or 0.8 movement speed modifier, meaning that it's 20% slow. For whatever reason, burned has its own section within Brimstone, okay, with the same stats. And then it also has one under the Floor Scorcher with the same stats. I don't know why they included those separately, but those are the only two that do. So everything else fire related all runs off regular burned. Those two rely off their special burn. Now burn, you can also see, has that movement mod value. It's supposed to be 20% slow. Some time ago we did a stream where we tested it, and we could only, it's difficult to test, but we could only determine that there was a 10 to 11% slow, not actually a 20% slow. But I do know that the reason we did those tests is because somebody had said that they mentioned that they thought that enemies were actually running faster on fire, but it ended up just being the animation. It looked like they were running faster, but in fact they were actually running slower. I myself had experienced that as well. It looked like they were running faster, but they weren't. Now we'll take a look at the Brimstone. The Brimstone on fire does 12 damage, and it does 7 damage a second for 4 seconds, right? The regular burn. Total damage of that is 40. Now, at some point, I remember that the Arcane doing the same thing, also having the burn effect as well, but that's not the case right now. So the burn or the Brimstone for Arcane is just the 40 damage flat, and that's it. Of course, that does apply the Arcane debuff, which is 15% extra elemental damage to include itself. So the next time they step on an Arcane Brimstone, if they're under the effect, they're going to take additional damage. And then each time, it's just the 15% once. It doesn't stack at all for that. Let's look at the Floor Scorcher. We have the value there. You can see at the very bottom, the primary damage is 18. So the Floor Scorcher does 18 damage initially, and then it does the burn. If we look at the upgrades for the Floor Scorcher, we can see that the first upgrade adds 4 damage to its primary damage. Same thing with the second upgrade and the third upgrade. With that all added in with the burn, we're looking at 58 damage total for one trigger for the Floor Scorcher. So the next thing that we need to talk about is the Tar Trap. It does have a fire upgrade to buff fire damage. It buffs it by 60%. Now, I don't know if it's supposed to be 60% because it's supposed to just apply the vulnerability. And the vulnerability is 50% bonus damage, but this ends up going 60%. And we are going to take a look at that here in a moment. Alrighty, guys, we have Mr. Earthboard here. He has graciously volunteered his life to testing this out. Now, we are on Fire Tar, and behind us, it's a Floor Scorcher. If my calculations are correct, which they always are, he should be taking 93 damage. We have 58 for the total damage that he'll take with burn and the initial attack from the Floor Scorcher, plus the 60% bonus damage he takes on Fire Tar. See that value pop up here in just a moment. Here we see 93. So again, we've got the Floor Scorcher does 18 damage plus another 12 for the upgrades, for the value upgrades, right? So we're looking at 30 plus the 28 for the burn. It's giving us 58. And if we open up the calculator, handy dandy calculator, we can see that 58 times 0.6, oops, 0.6 is 35. Remember, the values in this game round up. So we're looking at 35. So 58 plus 35 is 93. That's what we get. So we know that the fire tower, even though I couldn't find the value actually in the game files, we know that it's 60%. That being said, that is a pretty high value to have, and we know that burn also is impacted hand in hand by arcane. So if you have arcane and fire tar with fire, so we're thinking like maybe arcane dragon shooting into fire lasers, enemies on fire lasers. One thing I will mention, I tested with fire lasers, and for whatever reason, they didn't calculate in the post game stats the actual burn damage, but they took the burn damage. So it looked like it was supposed to. It did the damage it was supposed to, but the burn itself was never calculated with the post game stats. So it doesn't really matter, but if you're doing the test yourself, you may notice that. Okay, with that being said, I hope you all enjoy. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow. I stream on both YouTube and Twitch. And I'll see you on the flip side. Deuces.